If you've ever tried to manifest and you find that some things seem to come through with ease and you feel like you're in the flow and it's so fun, but other things seem just a little out of reach, a little bit where manifestation is just too woo woo to make something happen, I have a question for you. Are you making yourself wrong for your desires? In her book, You Are a Badass at Making Money, Jen Sincero puts it like this. When it comes to money, and I would say really anything that we desire that is bold and audacious and feels like too much to want, we find that we want to caveat it and explain or diminish it so that we don't seem too greedy. Whereas, if you're saying, I love pizza, in her example, she says, nobody says, I love pizza, but, it isn't everything. So why do we do this with our boldest desires? I want to travel the world and get paid to live in my most authentic self. But I'm willing to work, you know. The truth is, we see our desires, they come to us from our own soul's guidance on what would allow us to live fully expressed. And then our conditioning sets in motion to tell us what's not okay about it. Why, who are we to want this thing, to live this dream life when other people don't have it? And the truth is we all have different desires and we all have different capacities for working towards what we desire. And the honest truth is the more that bold, audacious people are out there trailblazing the path towards desires that have previously seemed absolutely impossible, the more the rest of us get to play in that playground as well. My teacher, Mama Gena, she says that desire is holy. It is one of the most delicious things about us. And it's not just a whim, it's not random. It's the roadmap to guiding you to your fullest expansion. In tantric feminine teachings, desire is understood as Shakti, or our literal life force, the thing that drives us to innovation. It's the current that creates world, the spark of creation moving through your body. And when you shut down your desires, you're not just avoiding greed, you're cutting yourself off from your full life force and what that life force has to give to the world. Your life force is valuable, not just for you, but for those that you come into some kind of energetic contact with. In the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill writes about what he calls sexual transmutation. He noticed that the same primal energy of desire, originally described as sexual energy, when channeled became the driving force behind human innovation. He mentions in the book that never has anyone created so much as a man trying to win the love of a woman that he desires. And I would go so far as to say that this is not just for men. This is for all humans. When we are channeling desire, when we are really allowing that yearning for something to pull us forward, we know no bounds. When channeled, this sexual transmutation becomes the driving force behind human innovation. Hill calls it the most powerful of all human desires, the thing that inspired men, and I would say humans in general, to create far beyond what seemed originally possible. So whether you're writing a book, starting a business, or dreaming up the next level version of yourself, it's this desire, this Shakti energy that fuels creation. And without it, we would never innovate. We would never expand. We would never grow. But here's the problem. Most of us were taught from a young age that our desires were too much, that wanting was greedy, and that asking for things was being selfish. I'll share a story about one of the early moments in my life when I learned that reveling in desire was wrong and shameful. So I had been adopted at age 4, and I remember there was a party that extended family had come to visit and gifts were brought. I think it was for Christmas. And I was 4 or 5 years old at this point. And all the gifts were open and it was so exciting. And I was in this new family and there was all this love. And at the end of the gifts, I remember saying, "Is that all? Or are there more presents?" And my new mother, my adoptive mother, got livid with me. She was so angry and she was so ashamed, obviously from her own conditioning as well. She had a story about what that made her look like, to have a child that was acting greedy and acting like they didn't get enough. The truth is I wasn't asking because I hadn't gotten enough. I was literally just completing the experience, trying to understand, like, were we done with that? But my mother got so angry, and I learned to take what's given and humbly do so and never ask for more, because that was so shameful. This, of course, translated into so many experiences over my lifetime. And I would venture a guess that you probably have some experience from your early days of being made wrong, to want, to desire, to receive. And that conditioned you to accommodate or show up in a certain way so as not to take up too much space. But what if taking up space is exactly what you were here to do? What if we were all here to take up so much space, to expand our own capacities for receiving and for pleasure, and to be a beacon of light for those who don't know that that's their birthright? Desire isn't greedy. Desire is evidence that something greater is available to you. So I have an invitation to you. This week, as you go about your week, I want you to start to notice where you're making yourself wrong for your desires and for asking and receiving. It might show up in big ways, like, not accepting any help and then feeling bogged down by all the responsibilities you have when you had people offering help, but you weren't able to receive it. And maybe it's that you apologize before you ask, "I'm sorry, but would you mind blank?" We all have different versions of the way that we are rejecting receiving in the world. And in order to manifest what you want, you need to be a vessel to receive. And I'd love to hear in the comments, what have you received lately that felt uncomfortable but was amazing? Or tell me how this landed. Do you reject receiving? Do you push it away? Do you say no to help that you deserve? And if this resonates, I created a free energy week assessment that is a guide to help you take a look at the various ways that you leak energy. And this can come in terms of like schedule or clutter. But as it pertains to what we've talked about here, it will help you unpack what's coming up for you, where you're, unknowingly blocking energy and keeping the flow from coming in and out of your life. It's a powerful first step towards reclaiming your life force and bringing your sacred desires back online. I'll put the link below. And this is also the heart of the work that I do with my clients, helping women just like you reclaim their desires wholly and create a life aligned with what their soul is asking for. So remember, your desire isn't greedy, it's sacred. Trust it.